it's still a party. It's the next day and it's still a party. Oh, it's even bro. All I was watching yesterday was the highlights over and over again. Yes! What a day! What a time to be alive, Cowboy haters!
Wayne.
Where y'all at? Where's all that? Look at y'all! Goofy asses! Goofy! Where's Keyshawn?
Great morning for you because you
Let's go, Lil Wayne!
here at this desk on Friday, and you all but guaranteed your Packers
Guaranteed!
easily at my Cowboys.
Guaranteed!
So right, and I was so
wrong as usual. Woo!
Trust Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott as 7.5-point favorites at Jerry World,
Woo!
where they had only won 16 straight games.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yesterday,
Doesn't mean
the
shit.
Dallas Cowboys got exposed
Duh.
as gutless, heartless,
Fraud.
leaderless playoff frauds.
Fraud.
Frauds.
Fraud.
That was by far the most shocking and devastating and humiliating.
That's like I can't believe my eyes.
In Dallas,
I can't believe my eyes still to this day. I can't believe I'm watching this right now.
Ever as a
Yeah, throw that shit out. Especially the Micah one. Especially the Micah one.
This was all time.
All time.
I threw all my Cowboy gear in the trash last night.
Had
It will
to.
stay there. Mike McCarthy has to go today.
Has to.
His replacement has to be, to me, Jim Harbaugh, not Bill Belichick. We'll get into that in just a few minutes. And there is no way Dak Prescott deserves a big contract extension now, not after throwing 2 first-half interceptions, 1 a pick six, that led to Green Bay 27-0
Talk to me.
before halftime.
Talk to me.
Halftime. Not after Dak Prescott got into it early with CD and somehow made him mad. I didn't see that coming. Jordan Love is so much better than Dak. I'd love to see if Trey Lance can turn into Jordan Love. Now, would you believe, I hope defensive coordinator Dan Quinn gets a head coaching job. Now I'm not so sure he will, because how do you sell 27-0? How do you sell 48-16 with 6 minutes left in the game? Micah Parsons. He's so overrated.
So overrated.
He had the worst
overrated.
pass rush game of his entire career yesterday.
So overrated. Finn said it. Finn said it.
0
Finn
tackles
said
for
it.
loss, 1 solo tackle, and 1 assist. Are you kidding me? January 14, 2024.
Damn.
A day that will live in Cowboy infamy. Okay, but enough from me. Let's see what Michael Irvin and Richard Sherman think. Michael, please, you first. You talk me off the ledge. What in the name of Jimmy Johnson happened to our Cowboys yesterday?
Listen, this was hard. This was a hard one. This was a hard one. Even watching it, and I would have to sum it up first and say this was a coaching spanking.
Damn, Mike.
On both sides.
Damn, Mike.
I mean, Mike McCarthy took a coaching spanking.
Yes.
Dan Quinn took a
I love this. I love this.
There is no getting around it. There's no getting around it. I look at this and I say, wow, you had 4 teams defending their home turf this weekend. Houston,
everyone got it done, right?
Said to Cleveland.
Everyone got it done?
Who everybody had favored. No. Not in our house.
Not in our house.
Not on our watch.
Nope.
Not in our city.
Only the Cowgirls. Only the Cowgirls, man.
Kansas City stood up and said, I know what we went through all year, but not in our house.
Not in our house.
We're not dropping 1 pass.
Yeah.
Not in our city.
Nope.
Not on our watch. Detroit, who a lot of people had the Rams, including me, going in and beating Detroit. They said, not in our house.
No.
Not on our watch. Not in our city.
Preach.
And then Dallas, the most recognizable. The best franchise in the world, the most valuable franchise in the world.
Not the best.
And I get a head coach that says, we were not ready to play. Unacceptable. At that place, at that moment, right then, right there, say we were not ready to play is unacceptable. You cannot say, how are you not ready to play in this game with everything on the line? You got home field advantage. You won 16 straight games at home, and you show up and do that. That was all out coaching. Started out with you get an offside, it turns into a touchdown.
Let's go!
To a field goal, but it turns into a touchdown. You come back on a special team blunder, we get a pass interference with the fair catch. It's like, then we catch a punt in the 5 or 6 yard line. Like, what is going on here?
Is that?
All of this is discipline stuff. All of this says you're not ready to play a football game that there's no way in the world you should not have been ready to play. That's why this is so disappointing. To go in there, and I told you guys, I said, I'm worried about this. If this team jumps out early, it's Armageddon. And that's exactly what happened. Once they jumped out, they turned around and handed that ball off, and there was nothing you can do. What irks me to death, I can take you losing a game. I cannot take, you have 3 people in the National Football League. I mean, I didn't see anybody around these 3 guys. Musgrave down the sideline. There was nobody in sight. Everybody left the field. It was. You see Dobbs running wide open. These are design plays that they have studied your defense and come up with. And dominated. They hit those areas and they dominated. And there was no answer for anything. When they ran the football, Skip, there were gaping holes. These were
I tried to warn y'all that 33. I told y'all 33 was coming,
somebody and made hard yards. There were gaping holes.
Buffalo all over.
It was
Buffalo all over. Worse.
I walked away saying, "There's no way you retool. There's no way you do this again. There's no way you do this."
Of course they do it again. They're the freaking Cowgirls.
Here, I can't believe that the Dallas Cowboys took that game and played that way at that time. That's unacceptable.
Richard.
Skip, Irv, I hate to be the one. All year, I was called a hater. Cowboy hater. Sherm, you're just a hater. You just hate the Cowboys.
That's what we're all called, bro. And I told you I was just being... That's what we're all called. I feel you, Sherm.
And your fans from this kind of disappointment. Because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and
this
over.
One's different, though. Next year, even when I'm planning, I don't think y'all are going to be like, damn, we're going to lose in the playoffs.
They have done this. This team has done this. So
well,
until
not
a
like
team
that,
proves,
but they've done this, but not that.
Well, Skip. You asked for a historic season. You asked for a historic ending, Skip. That's what you asked for, and they gave you a historic ending. They gave you the most points ever given up in the history of this franchise. They gave you the first team in the history of the National Football League to lose to a 7th seed. So you asked for history, and that is what you what you received. And I tell you, and unfortunately, this team hurts you worse than your worst enemies ever could, Skip, because they took you to the top of the mountaintop. They said, hey, at home, at least at home, we are unbeatable. We're going to convince our fans that we cannot lose at home. So if we get home games, our fans are going to have no doubt whatsoever we're going to win this game. And then they took you to the top of Mount Everest, and then they dropped you on a bed of nails. And that's unfortunately what they did. But throughout the season, they have shown the propensity to do this. They have disappointed in just about every big game that they faced where the expectations were high, where there was something on the line. There was a winning team on the other side.
Yes, what?
Outside of the Philadelphia Eagles game at home and the Seattle Seahawks game at home, they have disappointed. Really, and this game, it showed every one of their flaws. Your big-time players didn't show up in big-time moments. People always ask, what makes great players great? It's the playoffs.
Right there.
It's the playoffs, unless they don't get there. You know what I mean? Some players never get to the playoffs, so they never get to show that. But in the playoffs, that's what separates the really good players from the greats, the elites, the gold jacket-wearing Michael Irvins of the world.
Yep.
It's when you get to the playoffs, do you show up in a big game in a big way? And your defense, if you want to be number one in the world, you're number one in those playoffs, and you make the plays that you have made all season during those moments to get your team where they need to go. And they didn't. Winners focus on winning. They consistently focus on winning. They focus on what they can do better. They focus on how their team can improve. Losers, though, they focus on winners. And throughout this season, your team has focused on the winners. They focused on the Philadelphia Eagles, who went to the Super Bowl last year. You hear Jerry Jones, Philadelphia Eagles. I'm watching the Philadelphia Eagles game against this. I sure do hope the Philadelphia Eagles. Man, I'm watching San Francisco, and I sure did like how that looked. But you're not focused on the food on your plate.
No.
And that's where they need to get back to. So everybody else can get the blame, but Jerry Jones is just as distracted. And like Irv said, they were out-coached on both sides of the ball. Give Matt LaFleur and Joe Barry a ton of credit. They came up with incredible game plans. And the first touchdown the Dallas Cowboys got in the first half, I mean, it was a false start. That should have been wiped off the board
for sure.
Immediately.
And so
we tried to prepare you, Skip. I did not see CD Lamb having a rough first half like he did, and he and Dak Prescott being off in the way they were. I don't even understand that. That seems like something more off the field. Irv can speak to this, but anytime you and your quarterback – I think that CD Lamb has some of the best demeanor for a receiver that I've seen in the National Football League. He's calm. He's even-keeled. Things going great. He's the same. Things going bad. He's the same. He doesn't get super demonstrative. Give me the ball, yada, 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 yada. He may ask for it later on after the game behind closed doors, but he never shows his quarterback up, his coach up. He does a great job. And in this game, you saw a little bit of the body language. You saw a little bit of the, like, what are we doing? What are you doing, Dak? Like, how do you miss that? You know, where he's looking at him and he's kind of like, what are we doing? And I've never seen that. And then you hear Dak kind of having those conversations with him. So I hope somebody really explores that later on and it gets to the bottom of what happened there, because I didn't understand that. But the bad thing, Skip, is next year, no matter what happens, you can fire the whole staff, you can do whatever you want, you're going to get worse. Because you're losing Tyron Smith. You're losing Biotish. You got to pay CD Lamb $30+ million. You got to pay Micah Parsons $30+ million. You're going to have to pay Dak $50+ million.
We don't want to hear it.
I'm just saying.
We're reeling, Richard. We're reeling. I can't even let my mind go there. I'm like Jerry after the game. He couldn't even think about tomorrow because he said he was so fixated on next Sunday's home game. That's where I was. That's kind of where I still am. I can't get out of it because, remember, this is the first time in NFL history a team has gone 12-5, 3 straight years, and not made it to an NFC championship game. As you point out, Richard, it's the first time a 7 seed has ever won a playoff game. It's the first time a 2 seed ever lost in the wild card round. And they didn't just lose.
Let's party!
48-16 with 6 minutes to go in the game. And what
Pack is
my
back.
guts out this morning is
Pack is back.
just remember, Richard, you were down on CD early, and then CD said, okay, Richard, watch this. I'm not a fringy number one. I'm the guy. I'm number one. And over the last 12 games, there was no more lethal combination than Dak to CD. And remember, going into yesterday, we had the number 1 offense in the league. And remember, going into yesterday, we had the 5th best defense in the league that led the league in quarterback pressure.
Y'all didn't get no more wins, no more
next to none yesterday, and didn't
shit than my Giants. Y'all played one more game than my Giants. Congrats, and lost it.
We had the best special teams.
Y'all played one more freaking
the best punter,
game than my Giants and lost it. Congrats.
And we were a nightmare yesterday. We looked like an uncoached wreck yesterday from the start. And back to Michael's first point, could we please show that this is, remember, we get it down to 3rd and 5, and we have a chance on their opening drive. They took the ball. They won the toss, and God bless them, they just said, watch this. And as Jordan Love said after the game, we came here with the mindset to dominate, and they did. They took the ball and ran it and threw it right down our throats, but it's 3rd and 5. 3rd and goal at the 5, and all of a sudden I'm thinking we got to if we just hold them to 3 here, maybe we can sort of stop the bleeding and maybe get our legs back underneath us. And our leader on defense, our most veteran player on defense, DeMarcus Lawrence, if we could see it, jumps offside. It's like this is what you don't want to see because it says we're not ready.
Not ready.
It says we're poorly coached because remember, the Dallas Cowboys also led the league in another category, penalties. They are the most penalized team, and as Michael said, they turn it right around, and on the next punt, they go down and commit such a stupid penalty on the punt, and you're saying you're just not ready to play.
Sam Williams.
Yeah, right. Sam Williams. Like, Sam Williams, well, what are you doing? Okay, that's the touchdown early, and this is the false start. Here's the false start on Tyler Smith, who, by the way, was the most penalized player in all of college football his last year at Tulsa, and he has been a mistake maker. But he's a great player, Michael. He made first-team All-Pro, voted by the players. So did Zach Martin.
But I said.
And where were they? I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
Right, but listen, I can take some of Tyler holding because I like how Tyler plays. It's all them other jokers that making penalties that ain't making All-Pro. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'll take it All-Pro and his penalties because he's All-Pro. But them other jokers, come on, man. And my whole thing, Sherm, is how at this moment do you show up at that game in that mentality, with that mentality. CeeDee Lamb has been everything to this offense. When they took him out, they're like they had nowhere to go, no understanding of what to do. And if more people are on CeeDee Lamb, which it was, somebody else should be open. And if they can't get open, then I need a coach to scheme something to help them get open. And none of that happened. None of that happened. So it's not, you came in, you were not ready. You couldn't make any adjustments to get you going.
Yeah, but you gonna go crazy? What's up?
Then what are we doing?
Let's skip.
What are we doing here?
Yeah,
because obviously this is not the situation.
That everything predictable, and
we were running for this. So personally, coaching,
Michael Bennett, Cliff Averill,
even
one and if they get a king and put
to America's tease. Who saw that?
I couldn't have saw that.
Maybe Jordan Love. I don't know, right?
Man, I think there's another.
Just remember, this was the all-time case of America's team turning into America's tease, as in teasing us, taking us right to the brink where it looked like it was meant to be. Michael and I kept saying, the Jimmy curse is broken. I don't know. Maybe there's a Jerry curse. I don't know. Because we had it in the palms of our hands.
It's a Jerry
we had back-to-back home playoff games that we should have won. Whoever would come next week, whoever it would be, we could beat them at home. We could beat Green Bay. We could beat Detroit. We could beat Tampa if they win. And finally, we'd at least get back to our first NFC champ. I'm in shock. Jerry's in shock. Jerry said, I'm floored. I was on the floor last night in the first half saying, what the hell was this? I've never seen it. It's such a disgrace that nobody saw coming. Go ahead.
Skip, that trash can at your house, in your kitchen, played better defense on you than your defense did on the Green Bay Packers, Skip. It at least got a few stops.
That was one take last night, and I did not miss. I fired every piece of my Cowboy paraphernalia. I didn't miss, and it's only about this big around. Jerry Jones should hire... So, gut feeling, who should replace Mike McCarthy if, in fact, he is fired?
Skip, what I believe should move forward as is. It's just hard to say that. So this ain't some of that.
They're ranked fifth on this
thing. Well, Bill,
I'm ready for Skip to go. I want to see some crazy shit.
I came into the game with some Cowboys down already.
On nobody. You just want
You were safe because you was with me. I knew you was okay. Get all up
on the phone. I said, Joe, I'm not.
This was the segment I'm trying to see.
Until nothing's left and they're not standing, and then they looked up at the
replay. It was a disaster. From the
well,
Key!
Wait a second. What?
He's arrived!
Today. You're not supposed to be here.
I know he didn't walk. I know he didn't walk. I dealt with this joke enough yesterday.
You're not supposed to
believe you gonna walk in here on your day off.
On his day off.
First of all, I had a conversation You yesterday.
On his day off. He's
We
here.
did watch the game together.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Wait, let me tell you, these jokers right here, when the game got bad, he goes and FaceTime Sherm. And now they on the phone. I said, Joker, I'm not dealing with y'all right now. I'm in the pain of what's happening. I'll deal with this tomorrow.
Dr. King
we
and
all
Coretta Scott
certainly
King. I couldn't just watch Sherm. I couldn't watch you take it all. I had to come in and digest some of it from you to be able to speak to my compadres.
Well, I want to cry right now, boy. I want to cry.
Mr. Irvin.
9 million texts during the game.
But I didn't.
Nobody. You just want to hear
You were
pain.
safe because you was with me. I knew you was. Even though I picked the Cowboys,
They
You
were.
did?
I picked them because I thought they was
45 to 28 or something like
Yeah,
that.
the way around,
and
buddy.
most of America picked them.
Right.
Because that's what it should have been. But because,
Should have been. I agree.
huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, because.
You pulled a skip. You reverse psychology.
Well, I mean, I didn't really. I step up in the playoff game. You know, step all the way up. I just felt like, hey, they were going to win this game.
Sure.
But it was the flip. All of a sudden, I was watching Dallas. Oh man, he fat. No, Romeo Dobbs is the guy. You got to get him the football.
Romeo caught 0 against Chicago in the last game.
That's
Go
okay.
ahead. I know.
Six for $160 something of money in your first playoff game.
Yeah.
I feel bad for y'all, man.
Okay, it is your turn. You have earned the right to tell us that tell us so. You know, you need to tell us that you were trying to tell us.
Remember they call us haters.
What I was trying to tell you guys is that you jump ahead too far. You already looking too far to San Francisco. And I have been telling y'all, take care of Washington. Don't look forward to Green Bay till Green Bay steps on the field. Take care of Green Bay. And whoever else you draw from that point, take care of them. But you and Skip, you fell into his trap. Oh, we going to Vegas. And I'm like, no, you're not. You got it one game at a time.
Maybe I fell in his
Hey.
trap.
On top of that, though, Skip, here's another thing that I would say. No matter what anybody tells me, I don't like the fact that Jerry Jones put the pressure on that coach. Okay? I just don't. I don't want a coach out there coaching scared for his job.
He showed it was over in 2 minutes.
Yeah, but even if it was over in 2 minutes, maybe by Jerry saying what he said, put that pressure on that man. When it was time to game plan, he's thinking, oh my God, what if this, what if that? Instead of just don't do it. What is that going to prove when you do something like that?
Shocking and devastating and humiliating playoff loss in Dallas Cowboy history. My lowest moment ever as a lifelong diehard Cowboy fan. Not your typical fall on your face. This was all time.
This is the beginning.
I threw all my Cowboy gear in the trash last night, and it will stay there. Mike McCarthy has to go today. His replacement has to be Tanij.
In coaching.
Yes.
So if this game is pressure.
It is all I'm saying. There's no need to add that stress to the situation. Now, Dak Prescott didn't play well. As I told you, you start making me think like you.
Yick 6.
What I seen that, hey,
Yick 6 was different.
maybe that extension.
Yick 6 was
maybe
different.
you wait one more year. Maybe you try to figure out cap numbers and stuff like
Yick
that.
6 was
You
different.
but it's hard to say that because I told you yesterday, Michael, who you gonna get? Like who you want Kirk Cousins? Like who you gonna get?
I'm still on this pressure thing. How can he not know the pressure? It's been 30 damn years.
He does know it.
I don't.
But he hasn't been there the whole 30 years.
He knows it, but you don't have to add more to it.
You don't have to add it.
You don't add. You don't. You don't need to.
We'll replace you. We're always looking, always consistent.
Wait.
I waited long enough.
What is Jerry doing? What are you talking about? Picking this moment. This ain't the first year you won 12 games.
Let's go.
Round. You won 12 games. You lose in the division round. You win 12 games, son. Pressure's on you to go farther this year. I don't care if Jerry said it. He should have felt it. He didn't need Jerry to say it. He should have known it. You got to win now. Right. What are we talking about here? Well, let's usher him in carefully. No, this is the National Football League. You don't win, you go home. You lose a job. Somebody else gets an opportunity. And he didn't win. This is the third time. He should have felt this pressure.
He felt it.
He's probably going to be the only coach that wins 36 games over the last 3 years.
But in the end, Dan Quinn is it pressure, felt the pressure too.
I won't be listening.
Okay?
Yep.
He felt the pressure. What I mean by that is interesting because I was thinking about this yesterday as I was driving home from the game. Coaches that you're trying to put a scheme down.
All right.
You're not looking towards Seattle. Or do I get a share? I think in terms of Mike McCarthy, you might want to see if there's a couple guys.
The one game that he did play in the playoffs without Tom Brady, they lost 47-17 at Buffalo, and Buffalo played the perfect game, no punts, and scored on every possession.
But they ain't had no players, though, Skip.
Okay.
We done had that conversation a million times.
Before we get out of here, that this is a perpetual setup for failure. The rhetoric that you two are spewing. It's a perpetual,
what are you talking about, Michael? We didn't play.
To be talking about, well, you put too much pressure on your head coach. Any head coach that feels you put too much pressure on me, I can't perform. And a head coach, if your team is picking up the vibes that the head coach is like, that's why they played like that? Because you're telling me there was too much pressure.
No, that's not what I'm saying, Michael.
That's not. I'm going to tell you.
That's what I'm saying. It didn't make it. What good is it? What good is it to go
Richard cannot get
public and say what do that?
That you got this game to show me what you got, and they showed me nothing.
It doesn't need to be said.
So it tells me we need to make some decisions. That made perfect sense.
Great day in history, man.